Let's talk about one of literature's most fascinating and, frankly, unsettling relationships, the bond between Marlow and Kurtz in Heart of Darkness. It's this weird, magnetic, kind of disturbing connection that people have been trying to figure out for over 100 years. So what's really going on between them?
And that really boils down to this one central question about Marlow himself. As he journeys up that river and sees the absolute horror of what Kurtz has become, is he a hero? Or is he just an accomplice, standing by while it all happens?
Okay, so to get to the bottom of this, we're going to look at it through a really interesting lens, the diatribe dialogue. The idea here is that their relationship isn't a friendship at all. It's more like an internal war, a fierce debate happening inside one person's mind about what it even means to be human. And these are the two sides duking it out. On one side, you've got Kurtz. He represents the honesty of the abyss, that terrifying, raw truth you find when you strip away all the rules. And on the other side, there's Marlow. He stands for the salvage of the lie. Basically, the idea that we need those rules and fictions to keep the darkness from swallowing us whole. All right, let's dive into it. First up, we're going to hear from the prosecutor, the voice making the case against Marlow. This is the accusation. The main charge? It's this idea of sanctimonious neutrality. See, Marlow acts like he's just a neutral observer, just doing his job. But this argument says his silence, his inaction, makes him complicit. He sees pure, unfiltered evil, and his big move is to do nothing.
Yeah, and you can practically feel the anger in this argument, right? This quote just captures it perfectly. It's like, while Marlow is obsessing over the technical details of fixing his boat, there's this absolute horror show happening right in front of him, and he just tunes it out. So here's the kicker. That obsession with work and rivets, it's not noble. It's an escape. The argument is that by playing it safe, by being the bystander, he might have dodged Kurtz's brand of madness, but he picks up a different kind of stain, the guilt of doing nothing. He ends up just being another part of the problem, a polished gear in the imperial machine he says he hates. But of course, that's only one side of the story. Now let's flip it and hear the defense. This is the voice that says Marlow wasn't a coward at all. He was actually a hero. This whole defense really hangs on this idea of cynical restraint. The argument goes something like this. When the entire world has lost its mind, when there are no good choices left, well then, just holding back, showing restraint, that isn't weakness. It's actually the only sane thing you can do. And in a world like that, maybe sanity is heroism. And this right here really nails it. See, from this point of view, Kurtz isn't some deep philosopher. He's a narcissist who got high on his own power and just fell off a cliff. Following him is a dead end. Marlow, on the other hand, he's the guy focused on keeping the ship afloat, both the actual steamboat and, the ship of civilization. This even reframes that famous lie Marlow tells at the end, to Kurtz's fiancée. It wasn't a weakness, it was an act of mercy, a heroic one even. It was a necessary lie to shield her from a truth so dark it would have destroyed her. And really, the argument is that civilization itself is that kind of lie, a fragile but totally necessary wall we build to keep the horror out.
Okay, so wait a minute. If these guys are total opposites, why the heck is Marlow so obsessed with Kurtz? Well, that's what's called the magnetism of the abomination. It's this powerful, almost gravitational pull that Marlow feels towards this man who is his complete opposite. And no surprise here, our two competing voices see this fascination in completely different ways. The prosecution says, see, Marlow didn't hate Kurtz, he was jealous of him, jealous of his freedom from all the rules. But the defense fires back, no, it was purely intellectual. It was just a morbid curiosity to see where this whole imperial project was headed. So their relationship really acts like a primal mirror. When Marlow looks at Kurtz, he's not just seeing another man. He's seeing a terrifying reflection of himself, of what he could become if he just let go of all his rules and restraints. He stares right into that abyss, and right at the last moment, he makes the choice to turn away. Okay, so this whole internal debate, this entire argument, it all comes to a boiling point, and it all centers on two little words that Kurtz whispers as he's dying. The horror. Marlow hears this. And what he decides these words mean, well, that becomes the key to everything. But the real question is, what did Kurtz actually mean? So what are we looking at here? Is this some kind of profound moral victory? A final moment of clarity where he judges himself and the whole rotten system? Or
Is it just the last sad ramblings of a broken man?
And right here, you can see the two arguments just laid out side by side. The final delusion camp says it's just the cry of a man who finally realized he wasn't a god after all. But the moral victory side, they see it as the only truly honest moment in the whole book, a genuine spiritual awakening at the very end. So, where does that leave us? Who's right? Well, the whole point of looking at it this way as a diatribe is that you're not supposed to pick a side. The goal isn't a final verdict. The conflict itself, that's the point. It's a debate that never, ever ends. Because when you get right down to it, Marlow and Kurtz aren't really just two guys on a river. They're two sides of the same coin. They represent these two inseparable parts of the human psyche, and they're locked in an argument forever. And here's maybe the biggest takeaway. You can think of it like this. Kurtz gives us the map of the abyss. He goes all the way down and shows us just how dark it can get. But Marlow, he gives us the survival guide. He shows us the tools, restraint, work, maybe even a few necessary lies that allow us to look at that map without jumping in. The heart of darkness isn't some spot on a map. It's this exact debate happening inside all of our souls. And that's why the ending of the book is so quiet, so haunting. Marlow comes back, but he can't just tell everyone what he saw. He can't explain Kurtz's victory because, while some truths are just too loud, they're too big, too destructive for the polite, civilized world to even begin to process. Which, of course, leaves us with one last big question. It kind of forces us to look around at our own world, right? And ask, what truths are out there right now that are just too loud for us to hear?